Hey everybody, it's JB from NYC Jewelry Week, joining you here for another 15 minutes with. Today we are going to welcome Helen Harris of Helen with the Gold Teeth, one of our favorite New York brands. I'm really excited to have her on here. It's gonna be a great little convo, so let's get her. And hopefully this will work, this update. Hey!
Hi,
Hi, how are you, Helen?
I'm good. How's it going?
Good. Thanks for joining me here at Jewelry Week.
Thanks for having me.
So, I was super inspired. Helen and I caught up to plan for this convo, and one of the things that I thought was so inspiring about Helen and her work was that it's not always about when you find what your jam is, it's not always about the actual work you're doing. Oftentimes it is about the world that work lives in. And certainly I feel that way with Jewelry Week. I love doing what I do because I love the people and I love having these conversations and just chilling and hanging out and learning about people. And that's where Helen's coming from. So that's what we're going to talk about here today, you guys. So Helen recently embarked on this new career in jewelry making, coming from a totally different path. Her realness and her authenticity have really propelled her forward into a great space. A lot of people are paying attention right now. So Helen, you are now finding yourself in this whole new community, right? Very different from the tech and engineering world that you came from. But it seems like you finally found your people, I guess we'll say, right? Can you talk a little bit about that? Talk about this community that you found with
Yeah,
Jeweler.
sure. It's really different. The tech world that I come from most recently is it's not like software engineers and hoodies and startup culture. It's very traditional IT. But in addition to that, it's the business side. It's tech sales, selling infrastructure to the U.S. government, to government contractors, to financial institutions. So it's very white collar, very alpha, um, not especially diverse, um, largely male, super specific kind of men, and the clients that we served also not especially diverse. But I found enough happiness in there, and I loved that part of my life, and it's not over. But with jewelry, what I found is that the clients that I serve, they typically tend to be much younger than me, but young. Uh, they are far more diverse. Their thinking's expansive. They're excited about so much and communicate about it. I have an opportunity to connect with people kind of like really early on instead of never like before.
Yeah.
And then the people that I work with in the Diamond District, I found they're really different. They're professionals. Most of these folks have been in the business for decades, 20, 30, 40 years. They come from different parts of the world with their own specific jewelry traditions. They often come from families that did jewelry generation after generation. And they have different worldviews that I hadn't encountered before individually. Um, and the way that they treat work is serious. But with some folks, there's been a warmth and enthusiasm about me as a young jeweler with a different audience and a different business, a different type of business than anything they've ever seen. So sometimes people are really, really hands on with me and very generous. And I would say that it's both my clients and the jewelers I work with that help me get the momentum to move as quickly as I do.
Yeah. Have you have has it been that a lot of the other jewelers have helped you kind of navigate into that? I know 47th Street definitely
Oh,
has a reputation, right, of not being
yeah,
like super
yeah.
open, but
I'm the main vendor that I make most of the stuff that I make with. They're a family of people who've been doing gold teeth specifically since the 80s, I believe, and they've been doing jewelry longer than that. But each person in that family sort of has a different position in their business, and sometimes intentionally, they told me explicitly, like, you should do this or you should do that. Other times, I just sort of watched to learn from them. But it's a mix. It's a mix. Not everyone there is nice. So
yeah,
definitely
no,
not.
I yeah,
Don't let me make it seem as though that has been my
yeah,
experience or I believe that, because it's gnarly up there. It is a
yeah,
complete nightmare in so many ways. But there have been, like, specifically, there's this guy named Amir. I ran into him because I needed to get my high school ring fixed. And this guy was like, "What do you need? Where are you going? What do you need?" And then I'm like, "I need this." And he's like, "I'll do it." And then he's like, "Don't pay me anything. When you come back, just bring it then." And I'm like, "Okay." So this person is someone who I've made purchases with, but we've developed a relationship over time. He's always trying to sell something to me, but he is constantly trying to give me a lesson in everything. He's someone, when I am trying to take on something new, well, first of all, he always wants to be in the middle of my deals, which is not sick. But when I am taking on something new that he's not involved in, and I'm nervous about a new relationship with someone maybe I shouldn't trust,
hmm
I can bring him. He'll look at the diamonds with me. He'll verify whether or not what I thought was true is true. He'll help me address some of my fears sometimes. He teaches me things about how to sell. I don't really subscribe to the same sort of like thinking as him or many other jewelers when it comes to my approaches to selling or customer engaging or engaging with my customers. But he's there. Like if he doesn't hear from me for a couple days, he's texting me.
yeah,
And I have never had my career in tech. I mean, if we ever get a chance to talk about it, it's really impressive what I did in there. And it was so exciting. But I never had a hands-on person like that
yeah,
who mentored me in a formal way. Never, never. This is still fairly informal. It's not the structured sort of approach that like I take when I'm mentoring people in their careers, but it's as good as it would get with a person like this.
yeah. Well, that's really cool. Um, I do you see yourself like within this industry, kind of following this long path and becoming a mentor yourself?
Well, as soon as I started hearing from young folks who were saying, "Can I
Yeah,
work for you? Can I work with you?" And my response to that usually is, "You can do what I do for yourself. I'll tell you what I know, and you can do it for yourself," because it really is just a matter of getting your own practice going. But I've sort of pivoted a little bit more recently because I'm starting to understand the psychology behind people asking me that instead of something else. And there's a young man who's interested in getting into this business, but he's also already a certified dental assistant. So we're trying to figure out ways to integrate him into my current business. And I do believe that I'll be able to better serve people who want permanent teeth.
hmm
And I'll be able to better serve the people who buy the pop-ins that I sell now because we'll have someone with more knowledge of the mouth,
yeah,
which will only help us make a better product that's more comfortable.
yeah,
And I mean, like, I would like so badly to integrate more explicitly awareness about dental health into what I do. And it really does seem like we'll get there faster with someone like him around.
Yeah. Well, that's fascinating. I had no idea you were thinking about this sort of incorporating like beyond just the beautification part of grills.
Yeah, and I think that comes from my customers too, because I really do come from the culture of gold teeth wearing, and some people posed interesting questions when they said, "So do you think that like Black American folks opt to wear gold teeth instead of dental work, or is it what we do instead?" And I'm like, I hear that, but also it has to be both. Um, there are, I mean, like even I have more work. I've got crowns in the back. I got to get some more work done. I have some folks who cover their teeth with gold and don't really address what's under. And
Uh,
I don't think that the cosmetic thing is what we need to worry about. It's the health piece.
yeah.
Because I mean, I've had it before. What do they call it? Compacted teeth. And those
Mm-hmm.
infections are dangerous.
Yeah.
So I guess promoting dental health awareness is important in general, but I do know about some folks who use gold teeth as a way to deal with what's happening, because it's a way, but there's a
Yeah.
better way, and that's by addressing the decay and the tooth.
Yeah. Oh, this is fascinating, Helen. I know nothing about dental work, but this is fascinating. Let's let's switch a little gears just a little bit and talk about your clients. You said just before we started talking about this section that you have a different approach to customer service. I'd love
Yes.
to know what that is because I know like your
Yeah.
relationship with the clients is so important.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's evolving. In the beginning, I was so eager to back up this random assertion that I was a jeweler. It seemed like the best way to do that would be by selling jewelry, making and selling. So
Yeah.
I opened my home. I met people wherever they wanted to meet. Like I was doing these impressions at subway stations, underground,
Oh my
parks.
God.
It didn't matter and this was not during COVID. This is when I
Yeah.
opened. So I shut down when it was, the lock-in. And when I reopened, I just went back outside and I was meeting people at the park, meeting people at a bar, outdoor seating. But like, I try so hard to make this my own version of a high touch luxury experience, right? But it's also still kind of guerrilla at the same time. Um, I don't try to pressure people into buying anything they don't want. I don't want anyone to buy anything from me they won't wear. I don't want to sell people anything just for the sake of selling. And unfortunately, jewelers, that's not the norm. I like to educate people about what it is I'm selling them. I like to encourage people to wait until they can buy the better purchase because I think of this as high end. So how about don't get anything until you can get something nice?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like,
It,
gosh, I mean, it's really gnarly because at the end of the day, jewelry doesn't have a price. It's sentimental, the value.
right.
So how we back up those numbers, it's up to us. But I like there to be something that my customers can kind of hold on to and they can understand why it costs what it costs.
Right. And they're going to have it forever. Right. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it really is something that should be, yeah, cherished. And I agree with you. Like making sure that you get something that really like fits your lifestyle now and into the future is
Yeah.
super important. Yeah.
Yeah, or at least you
So,
won't regret it later.
right. Yeah. Yes, exactly. So what do you I know you're very focused on grills right now. It's really cool to hear like your plans for like expanding into that world. Do you have other plans too of like expanding the product offering beyond
Oh
grills?
yeah. Yeah, I do other custom stuff right now. I mean, like
Okay.
as soon as I started selling grills, I was like, well, there are people who will want things that I don't make. So when I was like fresh, 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 when I was traveling, I would bring back these collections of things that I found, and I used to have that up online so that people could buy things that weren't grills if they didn't have the money or if they didn't want that. And they were just things that I thought were interesting from places that mattered to me. I don't do that anymore, but I make other custom things now. People love monogram in New York, especially, and I didn't want to do that. But I do now because I figured out a way to do it at a standard that I feel comfortable selling, and also putting my own stamp on it. So within the next few weeks, people will see some new custom work coming out that's not mouth jewelry.
Okay, cool. I'm excited to see just because I think your approach to making grills and making jewelry is so authentic. Like you've just expressed that all of the people watching this are excited by. So I think we're all excited to see how you grow into the space of jewelry
Oh,
as a whole.
well,
So
thank you so much for having me. This has been
yeah,
so
thank
fun.
you. It has been. I wish it was longer, but hopefully we'll have you back. And also, Helen will be a part of a conversation about grills and women working in that space, hosted by Johnny Nelson on Sunday. So check it out. Sign up. We'll see you guys there. And thank you so much, Helen.
Thank you. Have a good one. Bye.
You too. Bye.
Bye, everyone.